Okay, we are going to move on to lesson 1.2, clues from the past. So if you haven't done the previous activities involving the fossils, it's called Earth's Features. I want you to look back at the assignments and do those before you do this activity. We're going to be learning about observations and inferences. So don't worry if you don't know what that means. That's the purpose of today's lesson. So the question we're going to be exploring in chapter 1 of this unit is, how did the fossil get inside the rocky outcrop? That's the fossil we looked at in a previous lesson that was stuck in the rock. Looked kind of like a crocodile or a dinosaur. We'll first need to investigate the question of how fossils form. We don't know that yet. So we're going to think about how geologists use clues to figure out what a place was like in the past. And we're going to use this example of a bird's nest to help us figure things out. So we see a picture of a nest with a broken egg in it. So first question is, what do you see in this image? Well, I kind of just gave it away, but take a moment to think about that. You could pause the video right now and discuss it with somebody, or just think on your own. Think about what you see in this image. Okay, like I mentioned, we see a bird's nest and a broken egg that's blue. Now another question, a different question, which I also want you to pause for, is what do you think happened here? Okay, so pause. All right, so maybe when you discussed it, you mentioned that you thought that a bird hatched and left the nest. Or maybe you thought that an animal, a different animal came along and ate the bird, ate the bird's egg. That's possible too. So the first time when I asked you, what do you see, you were making an observation. And the second one, where you were using what you saw to discuss, to think about what happened, and you were making an inference. So let's go over those two words. The first word is observation, and observation is something you notice using any of the 5 senses. So I saw that the egg was blue. Maybe if I were there, I could have touched it or smelled it. And an inference is something you figure out based on observations and information you already know. So geologists observe clues like fossils and rocks and use ideas about science they already know to make inferences about what might have happened in a place in the past. So again, they're seeing things and measuring things, and then they infer what they think happened. So a fossil is a clue about life from the past that is preserved in rock, remember. We're going to look at this book called Clues from the Past. It's about a real geologist who found a fossil, something surprising, kind of like the mystery fossil in Desert Rocks Canyon that we looked at before. So what do you think these geologists are observing? What kind of inferences do you think they might be making? Those are questions that I want you to think about while you're reading the book, which will be linked to in a YouTube video. We're also going to read together the first few pages of that book. I'm going to read it to you. So I'll start the book. I felt like a mouse looking up the giant leg of an elephant. That's what Rodolfo Correa remembers about his first look at Argentinosaurus, a dinosaur he helped discover. Rodolfo Correa is a scientist who studies dinosaurs. He lives in Argentina, a country in South America. The dinosaurs Correa studies are extinct. There are none left alive on Earth. To study dinosaurs, Correa has to make inferences. An inference is something he figures out by putting together what he can observe and what he already knows. So those last 2 sentences mention inferences and observations. I want to reread those 2 sentences. To study dinosaurs, Korea has to make inferences. An inference is something he figures out by putting together what he can observe and what he already knows. So that's what we were just discussing when we looked at the bird's nest. Now you're going to read the rest of the book either on your own or with somebody to help you read. And you're going to complete a worksheet before you read the book. You're going to make guesses as to what you think, some information. You're going to make some guesses, and then you're going to correct your work after you read the book. You might change your opinion. You're going to either agree or disagree with some statements that are listed on the worksheet. All right, thank you. We will continue working in the next lesson, learning about inferences and observations.